What's up, guys, and welcome to the Laced Up Podcast. And would you look at that? Coop is back. You know, we fired him, and there was some negative response, honestly.
Yeah, dude, you owe me big for getting me back.
Yeah, I feel like I'm controversial. I feel like I'm like I feel like I have that like Russell Westbrook type of hate going on when it comes to get like Coop. But you know what? It feels good to be back, man. It feels good to be back.
Yeah.
How were you without us? Honestly, was there any like?
I don't think you want me to answer that question.
Missing?
I don't think you want me to answer that question. I missed you guys, but I had fun at the same time. So it's like, you know, I made the pain a little easier.
Dude, I could show text messages. This dude was living. Like, this dude was living. He's like, oh, this is the greatest vacation of my life. You know, like, you see, I was really happy for you, man. You see, it seemed like it was well-deserved. I think, for me, this may be potentially my last or second to last pod before I have to head out of town myself to Italy. And I think Korzemba too.
You guys are going on vacation without me? What the heck is this?
I told you, man. No.
You told me, but you didn't invite me.
You're automatically invited.
Where was our invite? All right, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, seriously.
For both of them, honestly, I would go to Italy. I would go to Puerto Rico, right? LiAngelo Ball is on the scene. And, you know, I'm pretty sure Mike had some interesting words to say about LiAngelo. Now, I will say, before we jump into that apparently the NBA is abuzz with LiAngelo Ball talk. People are very surprised by how he's been playing. You know, he always displays his knockdown shooting ability, but they're very surprised by the hustle and the will to make this roster. And what do you have to say to that, Mike?
So the exact quote is from a former head coach in the NBA and a current Charlotte Hornets lead assistant coach, Jay Triano, who said that he's a great kid. I love him. He was at the facility practicing every day for 2 months to play in the summer league. Shows a ton of character. He can shoot it. Great feel, knack for scoring. So I'll tell you what it is. LiAngelo Ball has always been a phenomenal scorer. Last year, he was a little bit more overweight, so he's in significantly better shape. I'm a little skeptical about his abilities for his skills to translate to the NBA fully, but regardless, I think in Charlotte at the very least, LaMelo is probably the greatest in terms of star power, not in terms of talent, but in terms of star power, probably the greatest and most hyped superstar that the Charlotte Hornets ever were able to get or draft. I'm sure you guys agree with that. So at that point, you need to do whatever it takes to appease the man, and signing his brother and keeping him at the end of the bench could be a nice little chess move. I know he's like 6 years away from ever potentially leaving Charlotte, but I think it goes a long way in saying, hey, LaMelo, we're committed to you. We'll do whatever that makes you happy. And I feel like eventually LiAngelo Ball will get signed to the Charlotte Hornets, although I don't necessarily know if he is worthy of sitting on that bench. Yeah, so guys, we are capping off the giveaway to the first 40,000 subscribers that turn on our notifications for the Laced Up Podcast. All you have to do to enter for a chance to win a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X is subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you want to do us a favor, leave a like on the pod and let me know in the comment section down below when it's done. You'll enter for a chance to win a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X.
Also, guys, while you're here, this podcast, Laced Up, is also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It would be awesome if you could go check us out there, follow us there, and leave us a review. Now, back to the pod.
So, with LiAngelo Ball, you know, I don't like to use this excuse, and I don't think it's a great excuse, but unfortunately, he's one of those guys to where if he was 2 to 3 inches taller, maybe 3 to 4, we could be looking at somebody that's making $20 million per year because his jump shot is that good. When he played basketball in Lithuania, he shot the 3 ball at 40+% on terrible shot selection, and the volume was there. This guy was shooting basically any and everything. So he's got an NBA level jump shot, but that's never been the question. It's how can he affect the game in other ways? And if I'm LiAngelo Ball, I want to show NBA coaches that, I'm not just a jump shooter, but at the same time, that might be the only real NBA skill that he has going for him. Now, we know he's going to play with effort. We know he's going to follow every jump shot. We know he can get on the offensive boards. But unfortunately, he doesn't have that size that you covet to be able to play him and feel comfortable playing him on the defensive end. He falls into the mold of somebody like an Anthony Morrow or a Troy Daniels to me. What are your thoughts on that?
I actually really like that comparison. I don't necessarily. I can see what you're saying there in terms of the only thing he can do is hit catch and shoot jumpers. There was one play, not during his last game, but the previous game. And I was very surprised. They had LiAngelo Ball as the primary pick and roll ball handler. And I was like so confused, and he was able to get a layup out of it. And when I saw that, I'm like, okay, good. More of that,
That was a tough layup, but I don't think that's a play you can bank on him making it the next level. Now, the Pelicans did something like that with the JJ Redick, where they would run a ball screen with Zion Williamson, because JJ Redick's got that gravity, and so does Zion Williamson. So you're gonna get a good shot out of a ball screen with a good shooter and a great finisher. You're gonna get a good shot somewhere out of there. So I do like the Charlotte Hornets doing that. I thought that was a fun action.
Yeah, it's just at the end of the day, I think you and I agree on one thing. It's the fact that LiAngelo Ball, I think he's like 70% the way there to proving to teams that, hey, I'm worthy of being on your bench. I don't know if he's going to get meaningful minutes if he does make it to the NBA, but if he is able to add one more dimension to his game, just one more, I think that's all he would need to officially convince teams to sign on. But I think go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off again. I would like that dimension to be defense. He had a great block on Scotty Barnes. You're talking about, I want to see more of the driving. I want to see more of LiAngelo Ball showing that he can defend at the next level. If he can defend at the next level, he can get on the court. The Hornets have a lot of good guards, a lot of guys that can create shots. All LiAngelo Ball has to do is be able to defend at the next level and shoot the basketball. And I think there's a role for him in the NBA. I don't care what anybody says. I know you guys might get mad at me. You might disagree. But I think he could play for the Brooklyn Nets or the Los Angeles Lakers, where he's got an Anthony Davis playing behind him.
Oh my god! All right, well, I haven't talked like for 3 minutes. I feel like getting antsy over here. Just kidding. Plenty of comments just were like, "Oh yeah, Mike finally didn't talk for once." Anyway, regardless, I definitely agree. LiAngelo Ball, if he was taller, yeah, exactly. I mean, same thing could be said about like Isaiah Thomas, who we could talk about a little more if we want to. But
he's already had a great career though, so apples to oranges.
Yeah, I agree with that. But anyway, yeah, if he was taller, he would already be in the NBA. I'm sure he would have been a 5-star recruit. He would have been right up there, in terms of Lonzo and LaMelo with hype. He just happens to be about, I guess he's listed at 6'5". He definitely looks short out there.
He doesn't look 6'5" to me. I hope I don't get hate for that.
Yeah. Yeah. The problem is that, no, I agree. I would probably say he's probably closer to 6'4". And the thing is that he does not have the speed to guard an NBA 2s, high-level NBA 2s at least. He is a small forward trapped in a shooting guard's body, I would say. But I mean, I've liked what I've seen for sure. I think it's been just a crazy surprise in a way, because I did not expect to see LiAngelo playing this way. I didn't expect to see him hustling the way he was, crashing the boards the way he was, because it's not like we've had a shortage of LiAngelo Ball like clips and experience and gameplay up until here. Now, has he gone silent perhaps this last year? Yeah. But we watched him play overseas. We watched him play JBA. All of those, every time he played, the man was shooting. And like you said, he shot very well consistently with a hand in his face. But that was his game. He always was pulling. It's really refreshing to see him play the way, just play like, just great, like solid team basketball, I will say. And I will also say, I mean, taking a look at his stats, you know, he averaged 17.4 minutes a game, 9.6 points. So that's pretty solid in terms of that. But I will say again, I mean, I said this in my own video. I said this in the pod last time. I do not think the Charlotte Hornets like roster for what it was, and this is very rare for it to be that way in Summer League. But you know, Summer League has a lot of shoot first guards. It's harder for a guy like LiAngelo, I would say, to stand out because he is a guy that in real NBA situations would just be a lot of times just standing there and or you know going off ball action. But he's a spot up shooter, so he's not a guy you put the ball in his hands and you say, hey, go get me a basket, or hey, go make a play. So I think the fact that he was able to play even this well is surprising and encouraging. Now, I also think if I'm the Hornets, this is like to me a no-brainer. If just in terms of like you have 15 roster spots, you could also sign him to a 2-way contract and you know have him play G League minutes. I mean, just sign him. Like, yeah, you see like the fans love him so much in Summer League, like literally people chanting his name, chanting "We want Jello, we want Jello" whenever he's on the bench. He is the older brother of the franchise player of your team, like Mike said, the guy who, yeah, like we've seen like Baron Davis in the past, but this is the guy that they have the most hope in. This is the guy that they hope is going to be a top 5 player in the NBA, potential MVP candidate. This is their guy. Sign his older brother. Let this happen. Let's see if, you know, chemistry can continue to develop. And I just think it's a no-brainer on top of this because of, like I just said, the man is playing team basketball. He has their coaches are raving about him. They're raving about his work ethic. They're raving about what he brings to practice. I mean, I don't see where this hurts you.
Yeah, so I watch a lot of Summer League, right? I love Summer League. I went 2 or 3 years ago. Summer League's kind of my thing, you know. I follow every draft pretty closely, and you know, I've asked people in and around the NBA about like how they feel about the Summer League, and they will tell you it's an absolute jungle out there. Like you said, I love the Summer League for what it is, but I kind of don't like the way it's set up. A lot of teams, you know, they have this they have their Summer League team set up so that, you know, they're young players, they're people on contracts, they're people that they drafted, they're high draft picks, can play any style of basketball that they want. And it sort of creates like not necessarily this toxic environment, but, you know, where this environment where team players necessarily aren't going to get the shine that they deserve or want. I saw a guy yesterday, you know, I think it was actually Jalen Hands. Jalen Hands crosses over, right? Guy wide open to the left of him. Hands, like, briefly, like, looks at him, turns back. Guy's still wide open. Guy turns around, looks at the coach, and Hands shakes the guy, goes and does like this nasty layup, and it goes in. And I'm like, do you consider that a positive play in the Summer League? Like, what? Like, it's an absolute mess out there, bro.
I feel like coaches just need to emphasize. I mean, I'm like, here's the thing. I bet you anything agents are in these guys' ears telling them, you know, scorers get paid, scorers get contracts, and that might be just straight up true. That might just be the way it is, because we also have to remember that not only are NBA scouts looking at this, and maybe NBA scouts are looking in a way like, okay, yeah, that guy is, you know, making the right pass. Like, oh, he could fit on our roster. But you know, overseas teams are looking for, okay, I want an American player that is going to be able to be that number 1 or 2 option for us. So scoring definitely is something that all these guys are looking to do. And yeah, it doesn't like, I mean, Book Night rebounded well, I will say for sure, after watching, because I was watching, you know, those first 2 games, but there were some plays in those first 2 games where I was like, my man, what's going on? Like I don't even know.
Yeah, Book Night looked legit. Kai Jones looked legit. JT Thor has some moments. The Hornets, they have a lot of good young players. And it's going to be interesting to see how their guard rotation shakes out.
Did you see that report? Did you see that report how Michael Jordan called James Bouknight to give him pointers after like a bad Summer League game?
No, I didn't.
God,
see
that must
one.
be ridiculous.
Yeah, he was like so shook. He was like, Michael Jordan is giving me advice. Like, whoa, you know? I wonder who he.
I wonder if
picks to
Michael
do this now.
Jordan is like so famous and powerful that like your phone doesn't even have his contact in, but when he calls you, it just immediately says Michael Jordan. You're just like, oh, shit. I got the call.
If Michael Jordan played his cards right, he could probably be like the GOAT at tampering. Like, no joke.
Oh my
like,
God.
If he knew what he was doing, bro, I think.
Yeah, which actually is super scary because LeBron is already with Clutch Sports. We could go into a whole thing with that. Who knows what's happening? But LeBron is setting himself up for sure to be an owner. It looks like.
Oh my God.
He's definitely gonna be rich enough. So what's gonna happen with that? We're gonna have all of these kids growing up with LeBron James posters, just wanting to be like LeBron, and he's way more in the public eye. Like Jordan is just chill in the back. Like he occasionally makes a statement, and people are like, "Oh my God, Mike talked. Like this is crazy." Like LeBron is not like that, and LeBron is gonna be like, oh yeah, like oh my God, whatever team he goes to, I could easily see becoming a free agent destination.
Also, LeBron is like is way more of a recruiter than Michael Jordan ever was. LeBron's notorious for just trying to recruit everyone to his team, and that's not like a knock on him. It's just obviously if you get more stars to join your team, your chances of winning are higher. But that's never been the type of guy Michael Jordan was, and I think as a result, that's why the Charlotte Hornets are where they are, and why I'm terrified of the Lakers once LeBron James buys them.
He's not buying the Lakers, man.
They'll never sell.
Yeah,
he's
going. Gotta be crazy.
The NBA is gonna give LeBron the pass and be like, "Here you go, new franchise, Las Vegas, bang."
Oh, that would be hard.
There you go.
That would be hard.
I am in for that. I am in for that. All right, that would be so sick.
Vegas would be such a destination. They'd be a super team within 3 years of the expansion draft.
I agree, and bro, I want the league to expand so bad. There's cities that deserve teams that don't have them, but more importantly, I feel like talent is at an all-time high in the NBA. I feel like every team has like 2 or 3 players to get excited about at least. So, I think that's saying a lot about where the game is going. Like, if you even go look at who was the worst team in the league last season? Even the Rockets. They got like 5 guys you could talk yourself into being a star. So, I love the direction basketball's headed.
100%.
Speaking of the Charlotte Hornets, did you hear about what happened to PJ Washington?
I know what's happening. I just want to know, Mike, this is your area of expertise. Is the number true or is it clickbait? That's what I want to know. And I'm not saying by you. I'm saying, is it clickbait by websites? Because they're the people that are reporting it.
So here's the thing. There's the original report was very sketchy to say the least. And it comes from, here, let me see if I can pull it up. But it's called, it pretty much says that PJ Washington's wife secretly, it's from Hoopsbank. PJ Washington is now forced to pay $200,000 a month in child support over the next 18 years. Ex-wife secretly filed for divorce 2 weeks after giving birth to child. So, immediately, this was memed, people were making fun of this because I guess at face value, this man's misfortune is meme worthy, I suppose. But there are parts of this story that just simply don't add up. One, you can't secretly file for divorce. That's not how divorce works. A wife can't go behind a husband's back and say, okay, I'm filing for divorce here. And and then just file for it without getting the man's signature. So that automatically is you could throw that out. 2, there's no record of these two ever being married. They've had a kid together, but they were never married. And 3, both PJ and Brittany Renee, I don't know if I'm saying that properly, said that
Brittany
the value
Renner. It's
Brittany Renner. All right. Yeah. Say that the value is incorrect. Now, here's my issue with this story. And, you know, I don't want to get too, this could be borderline controversial, so you guys could stop me. Brittany Renner was 26 years old, going to 18-year-old PJ Washington's games in Kentucky, you know, watching him play, hyping him up, making him think that she was interested in him. And eventually, like, they get together and have a kid together. And then Brittany, like 2 weeks later, what I do believe happened is 2 weeks later just said, all right, I have my kid, I'm out. If this was a situation that was flipped, you know, if you had a 26-year-old guy doing this to an 18-year-old woman, I feel like instead of this being memed and people making fun of PJ Washington, there'd be a completely different approach to this. This is a man that was taken advantage of. You know, I think we got to like put that out there. This was definitely a man that was taken advantage of, especially because there's videos out there. There's literally a video out there of Brittany Renner saying, if you want to get a bag, then go get knocked up by an athlete, because none of them use protection and they'll just knock you up and you'll be set for life. There's actual, I've seen the video. It's out there. So this is definitely, like, in my opinion, I think this is very predatory, and it's a very tragic story because, Coop, you showed me the tweets about what's going on with PJ Washington, just saying he just wants to see his son. It's really sad, man. Like, one of the greatest feelings you could have as a man is having a son.
Yeah, I agree. Korzemba, you look like you want to say something.
Okay, so I'm just looking at an article right here where they share pregnancy pictures on Instagram. So at one point in time, everything was good. And, you know, this was just back in March 18th. And now we're hearing did PJ Washington do anything? Like, why has she not commented on this? Has she said anything?
I don't think she said anything since, but there's a lot of stuff.
4.6 million followers?
Yeah. Bro.
She's an author?
You know, she wrote a book. Yeah, she wrote a book about her romantic encounters with famous men like Drake and Trey Songz and Lil Uzi Vert. And, like, you know, there's like Colin Kaepernick's in there as well. And apparently her relationship with Lil Uzi Vert really messed her up. And as a result, I guess she like hates men. I'm assuming. That's my assumption. She didn't say that.
Took it out on PJ?
I mean, dude, this whole situation literally just seems like a cash grab. It's horrible and it's really unfortunate. And honestly, I think like the NFL does something where they do some sort of like rookie financial training so they could ensure that like players don't just blow their money on BS. I think the NBA needs to do something similar. You know, I don't know if they do that in the NBA, but I think even if they do that, they have to say, okay, beware of IG thoughts. They will ruin your life.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the NBA actually does do something along those lines. I think Mario Chalmers, I'm going way back right now. I think he got in trouble for like not attending or bringing drugs or something like that. Don't quote me on that, to the rookie training thing. And I'm actually going to look this up. Yeah, so Mario Chalmers got booted from rookie orientation. The Heat released a statement that said, "We were made aware by the NBA that they have sent him home for violating the program's rules. We are investigating it and will have no further comment at this time." Multiple sources cited marijuana being involved, but it was not clear who may have had it or used it or in whose room the incident took place. There is no specific testing at the rookie program, although players who are present are subject to additional testing. So yeah, they have a little program, long story short.
Yeah, but like that was before Instagram thoughts were a thing. That was
before IG was a thing, bro. IG can be so toxic. Like IG is, I love it. It's a good platform, but you got to be careful on there, bro.
Like, dude, it's so sad that these guys, like PJ Washington didn't stand a chance, and people are saying he should have known better. No, man, like he met the chick when he was 18. Like he met an Instagram model with 4 million followers when he was 18. You'd be hyped as hell if that happened to you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but like, what is the NBA supposed to do about that in that situation? First of all, I feel like that's more on, his vets and like guys around him to help out. But, the NBA is there to be like, okay, listen, like, do not spend your money in the most ridiculous ways. They can't tell you who to not date. I mean, that's like crazy. And, but like, also, like you just said, he met her when she was 18. So like the NBA is going to be like, oh, do you really know your long-term girlfriend though? Like, do you really know her, PJ? Like, the NBA can't do anything about that.
Well, they got together while they met. She would go to his games when he was 18 and she was 26. I want to repeat that part because like that part is crazy to me. And I think they announced that they were together during the pandemic. I mean, at this point, I think I wouldn't say like, hey, you should date this person, you should not date this person. More along the lines of, hey, beware, this has happened to someone before, like bring up stories of like people with that have to spend a significant portion of their income on child support, for example, stuff like that. I mean, just an idea. This is a sad story for men.
I mean, I don't even know, man. I feel like we don't know enough to even be talking fully about this. Like, literally, I'm looking right now and there's like, boom, it's her family firing back, being like, posting an Instagram story of the boy who cried wolf and saying, stop crying wolf, boy. So like, I feel like we just don't know the full story. I'm not sure if we ever will, because this is a private matter. But however, if this is all true and she is, keeping him from him, which I will say PJ Washington is, an NBA player who is, putting this out there. So it would be kind of strange for him to put something out there like this and be like, I just want to see my son. I miss my son. And for him to be like in the wrong, like, I don't know. Because he's the one telling the world like, hey, I can't see my son. So who knows though? This goes far. All right, let's just jump into it. Cade, I literally just want to call you Cade, Coop. All right, Coop, do you have a strong? I mean, your number one pick.
Number one.
Do you have a strong opinion on the Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green showdown / their performances in summer league in general?
Yeah, I mean, I got a very strong opinion. I mean, I'm in Houston right now too, so I might not be the guy to ask. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I like where this is going.
I always got mad love for my Rockets. So, I mean, I was a Rockets fan before I was a Pelicans fan. I started off as like, I actually have a crazy story I'm not going to fully get into. Long story short, I rocked with the Rockets before New Orleans got a team because, I stayed in Houston. I moved to Houston when I was really young. Now, with this Jalen Green, Cade Cunningham stuff, I'm just going to say Jalen Green had the better summer league, and I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, Jalen Green's summer league numbers were actually pretty crazy. I wish I had them right in front of me. I wouldn't be shocked if Jalen Green ended up being the better player. When it comes to Jalen Green, he's got a swag, he's got a demeanor, he's got an explosiveness about his game that you just have to love. And what impressed me in the summer league is Jalen Green came out there and my man played defense. I wasn't sure the level of defender he was going to be at the next level. More so, I wasn't sure his commitment to the defensive end at the next level. So seeing him try to step things up in the summer league, I feel great about that. Now, unfortunately, I love the Rockets, but the situation in Houston's a little frustrating to me because I feel like the Rockets have way too many scorers. I really think they got to make some moves in order to get the most out of Jalen Green. It's going to be interesting to see the dynamic between him, KPJ, and Kenyon Martin Jr. Then you still got John Wall there. Then you still got Christian Wood there. But have you guys seen the beef surrounding? And I know you have, but the little beef, the little jabs that Jalen Green has been throwing at Cade Cunningham. You guys have been seeing that, right?
It's not just been Cade. I will go further than that. He's been attacking the city of Detroit.
He's attacked the city of Detroit.
He has attacked an entire city. It's pretty impressive for a rookie.
My man is a savage.
Yeah.
He's a savage, bro.
He straight up said, yeah, no, I love it. First of all, always love to have big personalities in the NBA, you know, always great to see. And I love when someone comes in and goes like, not only should I have been the number one pick, but I'm going to make Detroit regret not taking me number one. That's amazing. Okay. The only thing I wish with the Jalen Green situation is that Cade Cunningham was a little less chill, because he's so chill that like he's just like letting this all be, like he doesn't care. He's just like, you know, he's just a chill guy, and he's like, all right, Jalen Green, say whatever you want. I'm just gonna play my game. I wish like the two of them were, you know, squaring off. Maybe it'll happen though in the future. You never know. Maybe
that being said, I think that Cade has taken it personal. You didn't see that crossover where?
Oh, it was nice. It was nice.
Oh yeah. That move was smooth. That move was smooth.
Nice.
What maneuver could be smoother? But yeah.
That was, I mean, yeah, he's a very smooth guy. But all right, well, but getting to the Jalen Green thing real quick, in terms of attacking the city of Detroit, he said that he wished that he wanted to go number one, but that he did not want to be taken by Detroit. And then the next line, you kind of think like he's like pulling back a little. He's like, I just like Houston better. And you're like, okay, you know. But then he continues to compare the city of Detroit, the entire city, to the G League bubble that he was forced
crazy
to play in all of last year, saying there is nothing to do in Detroit. All you do is you practice and you train and you go home. That is it. To which a lot of people have been pissed off by. A lot of Detroit people. Now, personally, I have not, you know, been into Detroit ever in my life other than driving, you know, through it, I think a few times. Or maybe never. I might have just made that up. But no, I've never driven through Detroit. What am I talking about? I've never been to Detroit. I've heard that there was some, you know, like the city kind of was like had a drop down. But I've also heard and been reading that it's been having a resurgence as a city. So I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys know more about Detroit than me.
I don't know that much about Detroit, but I know a lot about Houston. And if he's talking about things to do in Houston, he's gonna be disappointed. That's all I'm gonna say. We don't have a lot to do here. We're a great city, but in terms of things to do in Houston, there's not a lot. It's like a city you bring your family to settle down and go stay in the suburbs or something. It's not a party city like that.
I've heard the wings are pretty good in Houston.
The wings, they're all right. New Orleans has better wings. I'll go out and say that right now as a wing connoisseur. You know, the food is okay. They got some solid Tex-Mex, but New Orleans has them beaten food. The food's all right. You know, we got. We're taking
that out. Cut it out. Cut it, Tom. I meant Atlanta. What? Cut it. I was like, obviously he would understand my joke about the Magic City.
Oh,
cut it.
Yo, keep it.
Cut it. All right, wings are maybe not the wings, but I've heard the clubs are pretty good. Actually,
yeah, the strip clubs.
I've heard maybe Jimmy Butler was birthed in Houston.
Yeah,
I mean,
by Michael Jordan.
I mean, there's a bro.
That's the rumor.
I mean, here's the thing. If James Harden was content in the city of Houston for like the better part of the last decade, then I'm sure there's significantly more to do in Houston than there is in Detroit. I might be biased. I think the women of Detroit are lovely. And I think at the very least, you will get a huge tax break from being in Houston.
All right.
There's no state income tax.
You get the tax break, but in terms of things to do, Houston's got like great strip clubs. James Harden, no secret, was a strip club guy. I don't know if Jalen Green is going to be on that type of yeah, right. James Harden.
Look, I would have never guessed. Really?
Yeah. Dude, I think it's still goated. I mean, I'm not a strip club guy. I will say that. I really am not. Never like it, but I still think it's either goated or hilarious or whatever you want to call it that he has literally his jersey retired in one of the strip clubs in Houston. Like, that is so funny.
Yeah.
It really is.
So the second best thing we have to Houston is like a park, and if you're not a space station guy, it's not that fun. But that being said, H-Town, hold it down, man. We represent out here, and Jalen Green's been representing a lot. So
maybe that's really talking about what's going on there. If you're downplaying Houston and he's like, Detroit was so bad.
Well, I want to talk about the actual players for a sec, because here's the thing that I feel like a lot of us are sleeping on. Jalen Green, in my opinion, was going up against like better than summer league competition over the past year with the G League Ignite. He was poised to have a significantly more impressive summer league than Cade Cunningham, which I don't think he was playing like competition up to that level at all. So obviously I expected Cade Cunningham not to look as good, especially when a bulk of his game is based upon his ability to find his teammates. And your teammates aren't necessarily going to be the greatest in the summer league either. And to be honest, his teammates aren't going to be necessarily the greatest on Detroit currently either as well.
the Pistons should have a pretty good summer league roster. It should be like their starting lineup pretty much.
They did have good. They had Killian, they had Sadiq.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great roster right there.
They had a great roster.
Luka Garza's been cooking.
Yeah,
My guy's been.
No, honestly, I would say the Pistons with Cade out there did have one of the better rosters, and also, Cade was playing off the ball a lot. I feel like he was.
I didn't like that.
That's one of the things that.
Yeah.
You didn't like that. That was one of the things that
I didn't like that.
I don't like that in terms of development. Like in terms of like Jalen Green's like, give me the ball and let's play basketball here. But I liked it in terms of like seeing how he's gonna be a multi-dimensional player in the NBA. Like I like to see that he immediately was going off the ball.
No,
not at all.
I hate it. I mean,
how?
What high level pick do you want potentially playing off the ball? Do you want Luka off the ball? Do you want Harden off the ball? I want Cade on the ball, and I want to take as many lumps as possible because if he reaches his ceiling, he's not going to be an off the ball player. So
I mean, he could. I mean, here's the thing. He's
a point forward.
But the reason why he was so highly touted coming out of Oklahoma State is because he had the ability to do a little bit of both. So that means he could play off of other players significantly better, and he's not that in terms of like the way he could beat you. He's multi-dimensional.
But him playing off of summer league talent is not helping.
Yeah, I
his
agree.
Game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree in summer league. I mean, who knows? Like his playmaking numbers were not there in college, and they're not here.
So that's something you definitely want to develop on the ball.
I agree.
You
I
don't
agree
want him
with
to be
that.
like a
100%.
3D guy or something.
Yeah.
So.
No, 100%. However, I will say that playing off the ball, I mean, his shot already looks insane. He shot 50% in 3 games from 3 on 8.7 attempts from a night. So that is great. But no, I agree with what you're saying. The Bulls, they what they did with Patrick Williams all summer league, for the 3 games he played, was they put the ball in his hands at all times and were like run pick and rolls, catch the ball in the mid post level, catch the ball in the post. They put him in several different situations on offense. Patrick Williams probably did not run a single pick and roll in the NBA last year. Like he was not running off the pick and roll. That was insane. But they were putting him in spots where he was uncomfortable and trying to get him to succeed because exactly like you said, take your lumps and it'll help for development in the future. I do agree that with the Pistons that is kind of questionable, especially because they were basically sacrificing Cade playing point guard and on the ball way more for Killian Hayes, where you're not banking on Killian Hayes to be anything more than, he could be an NBA starter level player, sure, but you have literally the number 1 pick that you're hoping is going to be.
Ideally, you want Hayes playing off the ball and learning his role as opposed to Cade Cunningham. So that was interesting. And
Killian Hayes is 6'5", with I'm pretty sure a very long wingspan.
Yeah. He's got great measurables.
All right, 6'8" wingspan. So yeah, he's fine off the ball. Yeah, exactly. I would rather have. I mean, that's not what you're going to be running going into the future. Yeah, 100% agree. I liked seeing the off the ball skills that Cade had, but for the summer league and just for the NBA going forward, if you're going to be starting those two guys, like you don't want going forward Killian having the ball in his hands way more of the time than your number one guy.
So if we go back a few years, you remember Trae Young and his summer league. He started off terrible. I'm not going to say he was one of the worst players in the summer league. That's just
we're doing a video on that. We're doing recent NBA stars that were horrible in the summer league.
Yeah, I wanted to do one of those too.
He's going to be
that's going to be a
nice
banger.
thumbnail pick. Hopefully.
Oh, it's funny. I have that video coming out today.
That's going to be a banger.
No, wait, hold on, wait. I actually got a good list. I mean, you never know with the current NBA culture, I feel like, especially with lists. But I do know the list. Okay, wait, sorry. Make your point, and then I'll read the list off.
Just pretty much, I just like he came out, he was chucking, he learned what worked, what didn't, and eventually he turned it around. He said, keep that same energy for those counting me out in the summer league. I want my high-level picks in the summer league to play like J.R. Smith with like a blindfold. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot as much as you possibly can. We trying to develop, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, especially when you see other guys, like we were talking about, other guys on other rosters just gunning. And it's like, these guys are just trying to show off, to play overseas. Like, you're the number one pick. Shoot as much as you want. No one's caring. Like, no one in the Bulls organization was like, oh, Patrick, pass that ball a little more. I mean, like, he fed guys. He had some nice passes, but it was just give him the ball as much as possible. Honestly, it was to the point where I think, like, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes there, because it was so clear that, like, they were giving the ball to Patrick Williams every time in the half court that, like, Io did not shoot. Like, he just kept giving it to Pat, and then Pat didn't play our the Bulls' fourth game, and Io had like 25 plus points or something like that because he actually finally got to shoot the ball. So it was good to see both do well. But yeah, all right, so the summer league list, I'm going with the 5 guys. We got Trae Young, Karl Anthony Towns, Brandon Ingram, first go around. His second go around, he came in and just smoked people. De'Aaron Fox and D'Angelo Russell. All those guys had crap summer leagues.
I think, and I really don't want to give this to you, but you're my guy. I think Derrick Rose had a pretty mediocre summer league too.
I already did. All right, wait. So I already did a list of. Dude, I've already done this video, but it has him over 1 million views. That's why I'm doing it again.
Yo.
So the original one had LeBron and Steph in there too, because and Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan got like destroyed by some random in summer league. But yeah, and if you think of Tim Duncan, what was crazy about that was he was coming off his senior year at Wake Forest. It wasn't like Tim Duncan was some 19-year-old kid. Like Tim Duncan to get destroyed by a random in summer league is crazy. But it goes to show, like, you could play summer league a lot of ways, and I agree, like, the best way to play it when you have a young team and guys like Cade, guys like a Patrick Williams, those kind of guys, is you play it for their development and you kind of let the other pieces fall as they may. But you play your stars in a way where they're going to develop the most, because during the NBA season, you're not always going to get that. Everything's so fast paced. And I thought it was really cool to see, though, like the second year guys be able to do things that maybe, we weren't able to see them do during the regular season, because remembering last year, there was no summer league. There was the draft, there was no summer league, and there was like barely any training camp. And suddenly these guys were playing NBA basketball. And there was not a whole lot of practices going on throughout the season either, because the schedule was so shortened and condensed that you couldn't really afford to run too many crazy practices, because your guys would just get way too tired. So the fact that rookie class was even able to play as well as they did is, credit to them. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of guys from that class take, mini leaps going into this next season, because they finally have a lot of, just training and development is, going into them. The fact that we saw quickly, like, he was playing, real minutes for a playoff team in the Knicks. And then we see him in the summer league and the man's just crushing it. I think we'll see that a lot.
Yeah. So, Floyd, Mike, I'm going to ask your opinion on this. I'm just a summer league junkie, so, you know, I think the summer league is too short. I think it should be longer. How do you feel about that, Flight?
On one hand, I would love for it to be longer because it's timed at the perfect point where we kind of have this like basketball hangover where it's like right after the draft and free agency, and like we're just itching to see these new rookies play. So I think the timing of it is great. The only issue with it being a little longer is I'd be worried about players potentially getting injured, because you also have to bear in mind, and I know you guys are might be thinking, oh my God, this is so soon, but the regular season starts in 2 months. Like it's very close. Training camps start in a month. So I would be with that, but I just wouldn't want to risk players getting injured, especially if you paid. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I feel that. I think it shouldn't be like that much longer, maybe like a week. And a lot of teams that have like lottery picks in the summer league, they normally pull those guys after like the first few games or so. So a lot of the guys playing in the summer league probably aren't going to be playing major minutes, and they get a chance to showcase maybe a little more of what they can do. I think it's a great development tool. I love watching basketball like that, where guys are going 110% all the time. It's one of the reasons I love Olympic basketball so much. Nobody really takes plays off,
Yeah, man. Honestly, the fact that I couldn't watch the Olympics as much as I wanted to this year just because it's so late. I'm waking up at, whatever. Regardless of that, I do have a question. I agree. I feel like the summer league could be longer. However, I also, though, do think that if the summer league was longer, I really wouldn't be watching those games as much, because like the extra games, because I think it would just be a lot of, at that point, roster tryouts, basically, as opposed to, having the main guys out there, like the main rookies, the main second-year guys. I think that extended games would probably just be, okay, show me what you can do and try to earn that 13th, 14th, 15th roster spot. Having said that, what is going on with Cam Thomas?
Yeah, I think I don't want to discredit him. I'll let Coop go first before
the 27th pick in the draft, and in the summer league he averaged 27 points a game. Like, are we looking at a summer league hero, like in the mold that we've seen before, where guys are
like
just
a Josh Selby?
Yeah, like a Josh Selby. But this kid, he's what, 19 right now? He is 19 years old, and he was the 27th pick, and he led the summer league in scoring for, of course, the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah. So this guy, man, oh man, he was a bit controversial of a prospect for me, because if I'm picking 10 to 20, I don't know if I love him, but he's got that type of talent where in any other draft, if you're picking him there, you'd love him, and if you could make an argument that you could have picked this guy in the top 10 in another draft. But what he's doing right now is an extension of what he did in college. We knew this guy could score the ball. 23 points as a freshman. Not going to say it's unheard of, but a lot of people don't do that. If you go back and you just look at the guys drafted in the top 10, the top 15, a lot of these guys probably didn't even average 15 points. I think the NBA is kind of progressing to this point to where, we're not looking as much at production as we are looking at what players can do. Patrick Williams didn't have the best college stats at all. This guy went, where'd he go last year? 4 in the NBA draft?
He was going to come back. He was going to go back to Florida State, and then he was so good. His buzz just started growing more and more that he was like, oh, I'm going to be the number 4 pick.
Yeah. And
still 19, like him, by the way,
which is crazy. A guy like him going 4 in prior years, to me, is something that I really don't think you would have seen much of. And I followed the draft like almost every year, and I go deep. I look at all the prospects. So it's kind of led to people like Cam Thomas slipping because guys aren't looking at production. I mean, Luka Garza going 58 is a joke to me. Like, it still doesn't make any sense. how a guy that good can go that late. You knew what he was going to be at the next level. You knew he was going to have the capability to stretch the floor. You knew he was going to be a great low post scorer. I definitely think there's a role for Luka guards in the NBA. But to get back to Cam Thomas, the guy's been absolutely killing it. We knew he could score the ball. I look forward to seeing him grow as a playmaker, and if he continues to make strides on the defensive end, the Brooklyn Nets, and if he can translate this to the NBA level, the Brooklyn Nets absolutely have themselves a steal. I'm a little concerned, though, because the Nets got Patty Mills. Not sure how the league doesn't veto that shit, but it's going to be interesting to see his role, because they also
that wouldn't concern me. See, what I like about that for Cam, as just just someone rooting for any young NBA player to do well, is Patty Mills is definitely a great veteran leader. Spent several seasons being a veteran leader already. If a guy like Cam Thomas comes in and listens to a guy like Patty, I mean, of course he's got KD there, he's got Harden, he's got Kyrie to learn from, but those are the stars. And I think, veteran role players a lot of times end up taking these young guys under their wing a lot more. And so I think that actually couldn't end up being, great. I think we could end up seeing Cam Thomas, bang, 2 years from now, because there's not going to be a lot of shots to go around in Brooklyn for a little bit. But 2-3 years from now, we could be hearing Cam Thomas being yeah, Patty Mills was there for me right from the get-go, could end up happening. But what I also will say is that because there's not a lot of shots to go around, that could end up being perfect for Cam as well, because, in the summer league, he has the green light. Go ahead, light it up, 27 a game. With the Brooklyn Nets, that's obviously not going to be the case. And, at times, maybe when guys are out, they're going to be okay, show us what you got here. But other than that, I mean, he has nothing but to work on his defense and his playmaking to earn minutes right now, I would say.
I mean, I disagree. I don't want to be I hate being the negative guy whenever there's a player being hyped up, but I try to be somewhat realistic. Looking at Cam Thomas's highlights, at least in his previous game, 11 of his points came from free throws off of just, getting fouled as he was going to the basket. This is a 6'3" guard. That could translate. It's not guaranteed to translate. So if this was a situation where he was coming in and he was making it rain from three, and he just had the wettest jump shot from three, and it was just falling and falling and falling, I'd be okay, this is someone who could potentially be this year's steal. But the issue is that most of his scoring came off of mid-range jumpers that could eventually extend to the 3-point line, and trips to the free throw line. Now, I'm not saying that can't translate, but it's not necessarily a situation where I'm looking at him. There was this one tweet that said that Cam Thomas is in the same company as is in the top 4 highest scoring summer league players of all time. The first being Jared Bayless, and then I think the second is Damian Lillard, and then the third is Cam Thomas, and the fourth, I believe it was Steph Curry. I forget. I'm just saying this from memory. I could fact check myself. But I don't think he's going to be that type of player. He might develop into a tremendous player, but at least so far, I wouldn't. Oh, here. It was Jared Bayless, number 1, 29.8 points per game. Donovan Mitchell, number 2, 28 points per game. Cam Thomas, number 3, 27 points per game. And Damian Lillard, number 4, 26.5 points per game. I think he's trending towards Jared Bayless territory. If I'm being honest, that's not bad. Jared Bayless was a remarkable role player. And for all you know, I could be wrong. Maybe as time progresses forward, he could become something more, but I'm not necessarily buying into the hype, because he currently leads, he's currently third in Las Vegas for trips to the line with 9.8. And I just don't know if that could translate to the NBA.
Well, you have to kind of assume it will, since he shot 8 a game in college. But to add on,
I'm kind of confused. Also, you said you have always, you can't play pick and choose here. Your whole thing, you've said multiple times, is when I look at someone's 3-point shooting ability potential in the NBA, I look at their free throw shooting. He literally shot 88% in college on high volume.
I'm not saying it's not
where
there.
You're coming from.
No, I'm not saying it's not there. I'm just saying based off of what I've seen from him, he hasn't shown me enough for me to say, wow, what a bona fide steal. Teams should be kicking themselves for
no one's done that.
Yeah.
Of course. But that's true for anyone. But if you're going to be excited about one
Trey
guy,
Murphy.
if you're going to be excited about one guy, I would be excited about the guy who's been a bucket his entire career, then came into the summer league and still a bucket, averaging 27. I don't know.
So was Josh Selby. Yeah. Except Kansas. He had a weird career at Kansas, but
the summer league's a weird tool. But I just don't like the fit. Just because he's a scoring guard, I wish he went somewhere else where he could get more opportunities. But I see what you're saying, Korzemba, and there is some upside to going to a good team with a vet presence. But he kind of does remind me of that one guy on the Boston Celtics, and this is not a great example. Do you guys know the name of that scoring guard that the Boston Celtics drafted that was supposed
Nesmith?
to like? No, not Nesmith.
What draft?
Shorter.
James
Shorter.
Young?
No,
James
like
Young
2 or 3 years ago. Short
Peyton
guy.
Pritchard.
Volume scorer. He's still on the roster probably. He had a lot of hype. Lit it up in college. I don't remember what college he went to though.
Carson Edwards?
Shorter guy, but this could be a situation like Carson Edwards. I think he actually had a very good summer league also.
Yeah, Carson Edwards averaged 19.4 a game. Yo, that Jared Bayless stat was crazy. I looked at it. I was like, surely that has to be not from his rookie season. Like, that has to be his second season. Nope. He averaged almost 30 a game going into his rookie year. That is insane. What the hell? And he was that big of a bust. I remember with Jared Bayless, first of all, I watched Jared Bayless play primetime shootout in Trenton, New Jersey when he was in high school. And he was actually very underwhelming. However, I do remember that he jumped higher on anyone that I've ever seen on their jump shot. Like, the man floated in midair on a jumper. But regardless of that, they all the guys that in his draft class, which I'm pretty sure he was with Derrick Rose, if I'm correct. Jared Bayless was the 2008 NBA draft. Yeah, the guys in his draft class, when they were pulled like 2 or 3 years later, and I remember Kevin Love saying this specifically, they all were like, asked, who is the one guy in your draft class that you're surprised isn't succeeding? And like, who do you think is going to play better? Finishing that story off before I realized my camera wasn't recording, Jared Bayless, Kevin Love specifically was saying, he thought he was going to be like an all-star level talent. It never happened. I would love to, do a deep dive into why it never happened, because the man definitely had the physical tools. But hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications. At 40,000 subscribers, giving away PS5, Xbox Series X. Also, remember to go follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and leave a review if you feel like it. I mean, it would be awesome for us. It would be much appreciated. Final thoughts, guys, other than me messing up everything. Audio, camera, where am I?
I don't want my kids going to school with the flight mic.
Shut up, man.
No, I see why he's mad. No, high key, I see why he's mad.
Oh my God, here we go.
Like, imagine your kid going to school and hating on LeBron James, bro.
Despite being a Laker fan.
For winning the championship.
Oh my God, here we go.
If you're still here while the music is cued, here are 2 videos I think you are definitely going to enjoy. Make sure to click on one of them. Again, I know you're gonna love it. And other than that, have a great day and peace.